Abandon. After a heated argument, she decided to abandon the project and walk away. Abbreviate. To save space, the long phrase was abbreviated to just a few letters. Abdicate. The king was forced to abdicate the throne due to public pressure. Abduct. The authorities worked tirelessly to find and rescue the abducted child. Abhor. She couldn't stand the smell of fish. It was something she abhorred. Abide. As a good citizen, it's essential to abide by the laws of the land. Abrupt. The conversation came to an abrupt end when he stormed out of the room. Absent. He was marked absent from the class because of his prolonged illness. Absurd. The story was so absurd that no one could believe it was true. Abundant. In the lush rainforest, there was an abundant variety of plant and animal life. Abyss. Looking down into the dark abyss, he felt a shiver of fear. Accelerate. Pressing the gas pedal, the car began to accelerate on the open highway. Accessible. The new ramp made the building more accessible to wheelchair users. Accommodate. The hotel could accommodate up to 500 guests in its luxurious rooms. Accurate. The scientists' predictions were remarkably accurate. Accuse. She was quick to accuse him of stealing her phone, but later found it in her bag. Achieve. After years of hard work, he finally managed to achieve his dream of becoming a pilot. Acknowledge. It's polite to acknowledge someone's presence with a smile or a greeting. Acquire. He worked hard to acquire the necessary skills for his dream job. Adapt. Living in a new country, she had to adapt to a different culture and language. Adequate. Although the room was small, it was adequate for a short stay. Adhere. The sticker wouldn't adhere to the wall, no matter how many times he tried. Admire. She couldn't help but admire the beautiful artwork in the gallery. Adolescent. As an adolescent, he faced many challenges during his teenage years. Adopt. The couple decided to adopt a rescue dog from the local shelter. Adore. She would always adore her grandmother's stories from the past. Advance. With each passing day, technology continues to advance at a rapid pace. Adversary. In the courtroom, the defense attorney fiercely faced the adversary. Advocate. He dedicated his life to advocate for the rights of the marginalized. Affection. The mother's affection for her child was evident in every gesture. Affirm. The witness was asked to affirm the truthfulness of his statement. Agitate. Protesters gathered to agitate for social justice and change. Allege. The police would allege that the suspect committed the crime. Allocate. The funds were carefully allocated to various projects in the community. Allude. He would often allude to his difficult past but never spoke about it directly. Alter. She decided to alter her appearance by dyeing her hair a different color. Ambiguous. The message was so ambiguous that no one could understand its true meaning. Ample. The buffet offered ample choices to satisfy everyone's taste buds. Analyze. The scientists would analyze the data to draw meaningful conclusions. Ancestor. Many people take an interest in tracing their family's ancestry. Anchor. The ship dropped anchor near the beautiful island. Anguish. She felt immense anguish upon hearing the devastating news. Animated. The animated movie captivated both children and adults alike. Anticipate. He couldn't help but anticipate the arrival of his long-awaited package. Anxiety. Her anxiety levels increased as the deadline approached. Apology. He offered a sincere apology for his thoughtless behavior. Apparent. The solution to the problem was apparent to everyone except him. Appreciate. She would always appreciate the little things that people did for her. Apprehensive. Feeling apprehensive about the job interview, she practiced her responses. Approve. The committee would approve the new project proposal. Arrogant. His arrogant attitude made it difficult for others to get along with him. Ascend. The mountaineers began their challenging ascent to the summit. Assert. She felt the need to assert her independence and make her own decisions. Assess. The teacher would assess the students' understanding through a quiz. Assign. The manager would assign specific tasks to each team member. Associate. He hoped to associate with influential people in his industry. Assure. She reassured her friend that everything would be okay. Astound. The magician's tricks would always astound the audience. Attractive. The advertisement showcased the product's attractive features. Audible. The sound of laughter was clearly audible from the next room. Authentic. The painting was confirmed to be an authentic masterpiece. Automatic. The doors slid open automatically as he approached them. Aversion. Having an aversion to public speaking. He felt nervous before the presentation. Awkward. Their first meeting was awkward, and both struggled to find conversation topics. Balanced. A balanced diet is essential for maintaining good health. Barricade. Protesters built a barricade to block the entrance to the government building. Barrier. The fence served as a barrier to keep the animals out of the garden. Barter. In the ancient marketplace, people would barter goods instead of using money. Basic. She had a basic understanding of the subject but wanted to learn more. Bewilder. The complicated instructions would bewilder even the experienced users. Biased. The journalist was accused of writing a biased article. Bizarre. The strange-looking creature was unlike anything they had ever seen, truly bizarre. Blatant. His blatant disregard for the rules led to his expulsion from the team. Bleak. After the fire, the once beautiful house now stood in bleak ruins. Brevity. He managed to convey his message with remarkable brevity. Brutal. The soldiers faced a brutal battle in harsh weather conditions. Calculate. She would carefully calculate the expenses before planning her trip. Captivate. The talented singer would captivate her audience with her soulful voice. Catastrophe. The earthquake resulted in a catastrophe, leaving many homeless. Celebrate. The entire town came together to celebrate the annual festival. Cease. The loud noise would finally cease, bringing peace to the neighborhood. Censor. The government tried to censor certain information from the media. Certain. He was certain that he had left his keys on the kitchen counter. Challenge. The difficult puzzle provided an exciting challenge for the gamers. Changeable. The weather in the mountains was highly changeable, going from sunny to stormy. Chaos. The scene after the accident was chaos, with people running in all directions. Charismatic. The charismatic leader inspired people with his passionate speeches. Cherish. She would always cherish the memories of her childhood home. Circulate. The rumors began to circulate, spreading like wildfire. Clarity. His explanation provided clarity on the complex issue. Coherent. The well-organized essay presented a coherent argument. Coincidence. The meeting was a mere coincidence, but it led to a lifelong friendship. Collaborate. The two companies decided to collaborate on a new project. Colleague. She enjoyed working with her friendly colleagues at the office. Commemorate. They held a ceremony to commemorate the fallen soldiers. Commentary. The sports match had lively commentary from the sports commentators. Commotion. The loud noise caused a commotion among the crowd. Complement. The new curtains complemented the room's decor perfectly. Comprehend. It took her a while to comprehend the complexity of the situation. Compromise. In a healthy relationship, both partners are willing to compromise. Conceal. He tried to conceal his disappointment with a smile. Conclude. After hours of deliberation, the jury would conclude the trial. Concur. The board members would concur on the need for new investments. Condemn. The society would condemn acts of violence and discrimination. Conduct. He conducted a thorough investigation to find the truth. Confident. She felt confident in her ability to ace the exam. Confine. The dog was confined to the backyard with a high fence. Confirm. The doctor would confirm the diagnosis after running tests. Conflicting. The eyewitness accounts were conflicting, making it hard to establish the truth. Confront. She mustered up the courage to confront her fears. Confuse. The complex instructions would confuse the inexperienced. Congest. During rush hour, the roads would congest with heavy traffic. Conquer. With determination, he managed to conquer his fear of heights. Conscience. His conscience wouldn't allow him to ignore the injustice. Consequence. Every action has a consequence, whether good or bad. Conservative. His conservative views often clashed with those of his liberal friends. Conserve. We must all do our part to conserve natural resources. Considerate. He was always considerate of other people's feelings. Consist. The team would consist of experienced players. Conspire. The villains would conspire to overthrow the government. Constitute. The various ingredients would constitute the final dish. Consult. Before making a decision, he would consult with his advisors. Consummate. The couple's love for each other was consummate. Contagious. Her laughter was so contagious that soon everyone was laughing along. Contemplate. He would sit by the lake and contemplate the meaning of life. Contend. The athletes would contend fiercely for the gold medal. Controversy. The controversial topic sparked heated debates among the audience. Contribute. Everyone was encouraged to contribute to the charity event. Controversial. His opinion on the matter was considered controversial. Convenient. Living near the city center, she found it convenient to access amenities. Convey. The speaker used powerful images to convey his message. The evidence presented in court was enough to convict the criminal. Cooperate. The two companies agreed to cooperate on the joint project. Copious. She took copious notes during the lecture. Cordial. The host greeted the guests with a warm and cordial welcome. Counterfeit. The market was flooded with counterfeit products. Courageous. The firefighter displayed courageous acts during the rescue mission. Covert. The spy carried out covert operations to gather intelligence. Covet. She couldn't help but covet her friend's beautiful dress. Cower. The frightened puppy would cower in the corner during thunderstorms. Crave. After a long day of work, she would often crave some ice cream. Create. The artist would create stunning masterpieces with paint and brush. Critique. The film received mixed critiques from the critics. Crucial. The timely intervention of the doctor was crucial in saving her life. Crush. She had a crush on her classmate but never confessed her feelings. Cuddle. The child would cuddle with his favorite stuffed animal at bedtime. Culminate. The year-long project would culminate in a grand exhibition. Cumbersome. The large suitcase was cumbersome to carry around. Cunning. The cunning fox outwitted the other animals to get the food. Curious. The curious child asked 1,000 questions about the world around her. Cursory. He gave the report only a cursory glance, not paying much attention. Curtail. Due to the budget constraints, they had to curtail the project's scope. Dazzle. The sparkling lights would dazzle the crowd during the New Year's celebration. Deceive. The magician used sleight of hand to deceive the audience. Decide. After much thought, she finally decided to pursue her passion. Decline. The number of visitors to the museum began to decline. Dedicate. She decided to dedicate her life to helping underprivileged children. Defeat. Despite their best efforts, they suffered a crushing defeat in the match. Defend. He was always ready to defend his family and friends. Defiant. With a defiant expression, she stood up for what she believed in. Deficiency. The doctor diagnosed her with an iron deficiency and prescribed supplements. Definite. there was a definite improvement in her health after taking medication. Dejected. He looked dejected after receiving the bad news. Deliberate. The jury deliberated for hours before reaching a verdict. Delicate. The delicate vase required careful handling. Demeanor. Her calm and composed demeanor impressed everyone around her. Demolish. The old building was scheduled to be demolished to make way for a new park. Denounce. The politician would denounce the corrupt practices of his opponents. Deplete. The prolonged drought would deplete the water resources in the region. Deserve. After all her hard work, she felt she deserved the promotion. Desolate. The abandoned village looked desolate, with no signs of life. Despair. In the face of adversity, he refused to sink into despair. Detest. She couldn't help but detest the taste of olives. Devastate. The hurricane would devastate the coastal town, leaving behind destruction. Devote. He would devote his weekends to volunteering at the local shelter. Dignity. She faced the criticism with dignity and grace. Diligent. Her diligent efforts paid off, and she aced the exam. Diminish. The excitement of the event would not diminish, even with time. Disastrous. The storm caused disastrous flooding in the area. Discern. He could discern the faint outline of a figure in the dark. Discipline. To achieve success, one must have self-discipline and perseverance. Discontent. The workers expressed their discontent over the poor working conditions. Discriminate. It is essential not to discriminate against anyone based on their race or religion. Disguise. The spy would disguise himself to blend in with the crowd. Dismiss. The manager would dismiss the employee for repeated misconduct. Disparage. He would often disparage his own achievements, not realizing his worth. Display. The art gallery would display various paintings by renowned artists. Dispute. The neighbors got into a heated dispute over the property boundary. Dissent. The members of the group would voice their dissent against the decision. Distinct. Each fingerprint is distinct, making it unique to each individual. Distinguish. She could easily distinguish the twins by their different hairstyles. Diverse. The city was a melting pot of diverse cultures and traditions. Divulge. He hesitated to divulge the secret. But eventually, he confided in her. Dominant. The lion is a dominant predator in its ecosystem. Drowsy. The warm weather made her feel drowsy and sleepy. Dubious. His claim seemed dubious and required further investigation. Dynamic. The dynamic speaker had the audience captivated throughout the talk. Eager. The children were eager to open their presents on Christmas morning. Earnest. He made an earnest plea for help in solving the issue. Eccentric. The eccentric artist was known for creating unusual and unconventional art pieces. Ecstasy. Winning the championship filled her with ecstasy and joy. Educate. Teachers play a crucial role in helping to educate the next generation. Eerie. The abandoned house had an eerie atmosphere, making people uneasy. Elation. Her heart was filled with elation when she received the promotion. Elude. The answer to the riddle seemed to elude them, leaving them puzzled. Embark. They decided to embark on a journey around the world to explore new cultures. Emblem. The national flag serves as an emblem of the country's identity. Emerge. As the fog lifted, a beautiful landscape emerged before their eyes. Emphasize. The coach would always emphasize the importance of teamwork. Empower. The organization's mission was to empower marginalized communities. Encompass. The project would encompass various aspects of environmental sustainability. Endorse. The celebrity endorsed the new product, increasing its popularity. Enforce. The police were determined to enforce the law and maintain order. Engage. The interactive workshop engaged the participants with hands-on activities. Enhance. Adding fresh herbs would enhance the flavor of the dish. Enigma. the ancient artifact remains an enigma, puzzling archaeologists. Enrage, his rude behavior would enrage those around him. Enthusiasm. The children's enthusiasm for the game was infectious. Entice, the delicious aroma of the bakery's pastries would entice passers-by. Enumerate. He would enumerate the reasons for his decision point by point. Envision. She could envision a bright future for her business. Erode. Over time, the strong winds would erode the rocky coastline. Erratic. Her mood swings were erratic, making it challenging to predict her reactions. Essential. Water is essential for all living beings to survive. Establish. The company aimed to establish a strong presence in the global market. Esteem. He held his mentor in high esteem, considering her his role model. Eternal. The beauty of the starry night sky felt timeless and eternal. Evade. The elusive suspect managed to evade the police for weeks. Evolve. Through generations. Species continue to evolve to adapt to their environment. Exaggerate. He tended to exaggerate his accomplishments to impress others. Exasperate. His constant complaints would exasperate his friends. Excel. With dedication and hard work, she managed to excel in her studies. Exemplify. The teacher used real-life examples to exemplify the concept. Exhaust. The long hike would exhaust even the fittest of individuals. Exhilarating. The thrilling roller coaster ride was exhilarating and filled with adrenaline. Expand. The company planned to expand its business to new markets. Exquisite. The intricate artwork was an exquisite display of talent. Extensive. The museum had an extensive collection of artifacts from various eras. Extract. The scientist would carefully extract the DNA from the sample. Exuberant. The exuberant crowd celebrated the team's victory. Fabricate. The skilled artisan would fabricate beautiful sculptures from metal. Facilitate. The new software would facilitate faster data processing. Fathom. She couldn't fathom the depth of his grief. Feasible. The proposed project seemed feasible with the available resources. Fervent. The crowd's fervent support motivated the team to perform better. Fickle. Her fickle nature made it hard for others to predict her decisions. Fierce. The fierce competition brought out the best in the athletes. Flawless. Her flawless performance earned her a standing ovation. Flexible. The flexible schedule allowed employees to work at their own pace. Flourish. The business began to flourish, attracting more customers. Fluctuate. The stock market would fluctuate regularly, affecting investors' decisions. Foreshadow. The dark clouds foreshadowed an incoming storm. Forfeit. He had to forfeit the match due to an injury. Formulate. The scientist would formulate a hypothesis to test. Foster. The organization worked to foster a sense of community among its members. Frantic. In the frantic search, they found the lost keys just in time. Frequent. They would frequent the local cafe to enjoy their favorite coffee. Frugal. She lived a frugal lifestyle to save money for future goals. Frustrate. The constant obstacles would frustrate their efforts to complete the project. Fugitive. The fugitive managed to evade the authorities for months. Fundamental. Basic math skills are fundamental for everyday life. Furtive. The thief cast a furtive glance around before stealing the valuable item. Futile. Despite their efforts, their attempts to change his mind proved futile. Galvanize. The speech would galvanize the audience to take action. Generous. The generous donor contributed to various charitable causes. Genuine. Her genuine kindness won the hearts of everyone around her. Glimpse. They caught a glimpse of the rare bird through their binoculars. Glorious. The sunrise over the mountains was a glorious sight to behold. Gorgeous. The actress looked stunning in her gorgeous gown on the red carpet. Gratify. The praise from her boss would gratify her hard work. Grateful. she was grateful for the support she received during tough times. Grievance, the employees presented their grievances to the management. Grueling, the marathon was a grueling test of endurance. Guarantee, the warranty would guarantee a replacement if the product was faulty. Guideline, the manual provided clear guidelines for assembly. Harass, the woman filed a complaint against her coworker for harassment. Haughty, her haughty attitude made it difficult for others to approach her. Hazardous, the chemicals posed a hazardous risk to the environment. Heritage, the ancient ruins were an essential part of the country's heritage. Hesitate, he would hesitate before making important decisions. Homage, the film paid homage to classic movies from the past. Hostile, the two rival gangs were involved in a hostile confrontation. Humble, despite his success, he remained humble and down to earth. Humiliate, he didn't mean to humiliate her, he was just joking. Humorous, the comedian's humorous jokes had the audience in stitches. Hypocrite, the politician was accused of being a hypocrite, saying one thing and doing another. Idealistic, her idealistic dreams of a perfect world were inspiring. Ignite, the spark would ignite the bonfire, lighting up the night sky. Illuminate, the lamp would illuminate the dark room. Illustrate, the book was filled with beautiful illustrations. Imaginative, children have a vivid and imaginative world of their own. Immense, the size of the universe is immense, beyond human comprehension. Impartial, the judge remained impartial throughout the trial. Impede, the heavy traffic would impede their progress. Imperative, it was imperative to complete the project on time. Implement, they decided to implement the new safety measures at the construction site. Imply, her words seemed to imply that she wasn't interested in the plan. Impulsive, he was known for his impulsive decisions without thinking things through. Incentive, the bonus served as an incentive for employees to work harder. Incite, his fiery speech would incite the crowd to protest. Inclined, she felt inclined to help others whenever possible. Incoherent, his rambling speech was incoherent and hard to follow. Indifferent, the indifferent attitude of the authorities disappointed the public. Indignation, their actions sparked indignation among the local community. Indulge, after a long week, she liked to indulge in a relaxing spa day. Inevitable, change is inevitable, we must embrace it. Infer, from the evidence presented, we can infer the suspect's guilt. Inflict, the war would inflict great suffering on innocent civilians. Ingenious, his ingenious invention revolutionized the industry. Inhabit, the island was believed to be inhabited by mysterious creatures. Inhibit, the fear of failure would inhibit her from taking risks. Initiate, she was the first to initiate the conversation. Injustice, he couldn't stand the injustice he witnessed and decided to take action. Innovative, the company's innovative approach to problem-solving set it apart. Inquire, he called to inquire about the availability of tickets. Insist, she would insist on paying for the dinner as a gesture of gratitude. Inspire, the motivational speech would inspire the audience to pursue their dreams. Instigate, the troublemaker would often instigate conflicts among friends. Instruct, the teacher would instruct the students on proper technique. Insufficient, the resources were insufficient to meet the growing demand. Integrate, the new software would integrate seamlessly with existing systems. Integrity, his integrity and honesty earned him respect from others. Intense, the intense heat of the summer made it hard to stay outdoors. Intervene, the mediator would intervene to resolve the dispute. Intricate, the delicate lacework had an intricate pattern. Intrigue, the mysterious stranger's arrival sparked intrigue in the small town. Intuitive, she had an intuitive understanding of people's emotions. Invincible, the hero believed he was invincible and could defeat any enemy. Invoke, he would invoke the memories of his childhood to make his point. Irresistible. The delicious aroma of freshly baked cookies was irresistible. Jeopardize. His reckless behavior could jeopardize his future. Jovial. His jovial nature made him the life of the party. Justify. He had to justify his actions to prove his innocence. Keen. She had a keen eye for detail, noticing even the smallest changes. Kinetic. The kinetic energy of the moving car was impressive. Lament. He would lament the loss of a dear friend. Lavish. The wealthy family lived in a lavish mansion. Leverage. The company would leverage its resources to expand into new markets. Linger. The sweet memories would linger in their minds for years. Literal. The phrase, break a leg, is not meant to be taken literally. Lively. The lively music had everyone dancing at the party. Loathe. She couldn't stand the taste of olives and would loathe eating them. Lucid. His explanations were clear and lucid, making complex topics easy to understand. Magnitude. The magnitude of the earthquake was measured on the Richter scale. Maintain. To keep the garden beautiful, she had to maintain it regularly. Malicious. Her malicious gossip caused a lot of harm to innocent people. Mammoth. The mammoth elephant roamed freely in the savannah. Manifest. The symptoms would manifest themselves only after a few days. Manipulate. The cunning politician would manipulate the media to gain support. Marvelous. The stunning sunset was a marvelous sight to behold. Meager. With only a meager income, they struggled to make ends meet. Mediate. The neutral third party would mediate the dispute between the two parties. Melancholy. The sad melody evoked a sense of melancholy in her heart. Meticulous. The artist paid meticulous attention to every detail in the painting. Mimic. He could perfectly mimic the voices of famous celebrities. Modify. She had to modify her schedule to accommodate the new appointment. Monitor. The doctor would closely monitor the patient's progress. Motivate. His encouraging words would motivate his team to perform better. Mourn. The community came together to mourn the loss of their beloved leader. Mundane. His life was filled with mundane routines. Lacking excitement. Necessitate. The unexpected situation would necessitate a change in plans. Negate. He had to negate the false rumors and set the record straight. Negligent. The negligent driver caused the accident due to careless driving. Nimble. The nimble cat jumped effortlessly from one branch to another. Notorious. The city had a notorious reputation for its high crime rates. Novel. The novel idea intrigued the investors and garnered their interest. Nurture. She would nurture her plants with care to help them grow. Obnoxious. His obnoxious behavior annoyed everyone around him. Obscure. The small village was tucked away in an obscure corner of the country. Obsolete. The old computer system became obsolete after the new upgrade. Obtain. She managed to obtain the rare book from a collector. Obvious. The solution to the puzzle seemed obvious once he figured it out. Omit. She would omit certain details from the report to keep it concise. Optimum. The optimum temperature for the experiment was carefully maintained. Ordeal. The survivalist faced the ordeal of spending a week alone in the wilderness. Outrage. The news of the scandal caused outrage among the public. Overwhelm. The amount of work was overwhelming, but she managed to get it done. Pacify. She tried to pacify the crying baby by rocking him gently. Paralyze. His fear of public speaking would paralyze him on stage. Participate. She decided to participate in the charity run to support a good cause. Passionate. Her passionate speech moved the audience to tears. Perceive. Different people may perceive the same situation in various ways. Perplex. The complex puzzle would perplex even the most seasoned players. Pervasive. The influence of social media is pervasive in today's society. Pessimistic. He had a pessimistic view of the future and was always expecting the worst. Phenomenon. The Northern Lights are a natural phenomenon that attracts many tourists. Pinnacle. Winning the championship was the pinnacle of his athletic career. Plausible. His explanation seemed plausible. But she still had her doubts. Ponder. She would sit by the river and ponder the mysteries of life. Ponderous. The ponderous book was too heavy to carry around all day. Preamble. The preamble of the Constitution outlines the purpose and goals. Precarious. The hikers found themselves in a precarious situation on the steep cliff. Precede. The introduction should always precede the main body of the essay. Predicament. The stranded hikers faced a dangerous predicament in the mountains. Predict. The weather forecast predicted heavy rain for the weekend. Predominant. The red color was predominant in the painting, catching everyone's attention. Prejudice. He was accused of treating people unfairly due to his prejudice. Preoccupy. Her mind would preoccupy with thoughts of the upcoming exam. Prestige. The award-winning author enjoyed the prestige and recognition. Prevail. Despite the challenges, their determination would prevail in the end.